Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. So guys, in this video we will have our discussion on the wealth potential which can be attached with the 12th house of your astrological chart. The most overlooked house, the most underrated house whenever it comes down to the wealth potential. So definitely guys, I got this idea to make a video on this house as well after seeing the response which I received on my recent upload where I talked about how can you extract wealth from the 8th house. 7 tips to extract wealth from the 8th house. Now, you know this thing that majority of the work which I bring for you people is either have been studied in my own life or whatever I've been studying in my research or when people book their consultations, whatever tend to be my practical finding in those charts. So same way guys, when we talk about the 12th house, now I will give you a hint from where I got this idea. Definitely after seeing the response on the 8th house, I wanted to talk on the 12th house, but I saw a pattern over here. See, all of our communities these days are filled with so many creators, so many influencers, and this is one such area over where you cannot even attach a age or a timeline as well. There have been those kind of instances where like kids as young as like 14, 15, 18, 19-year-old, they have started their own channel, like definitely some of the channels under the supervision of their parents, and they are doing very good. And the defining part was that in majority of those cases, it all started initially as a hobby. They by themselves were not aware about the latent or the dormant potential and the talent which they hold or the kind of response which they will receive. So now I want to say over here that when I tried matching it with their astrological chart, because I have couple of clients who tend to be very famous influencers as well. So I saw that, okay, the general perception which we all have is that whenever we come across this situation that, okay, can this person be a good influencer? Can this person be a good YouTuber? Some people give emphasis to the 5th house. Some people give emphasis, mostly people give emphasis to the 3rd house. But when I tried applying that principle, I was not getting good results. But guys, when I saw a prominent 12th house, and if you try to connect the dots, because 3rd house, if that is what your hobby is, will you be able to create a profession out of that hobby? So if you have to go 10 places from the 3rd house, that will take you to the 12th house. That is the first potential. Along with that guys, even when we talk about the wealth potential, because this video is completely focused towards the wealth potential which can be attached with the 12th house. So 2nd house is the house of money, finances and all of that. So in order for you to reach the 12th house, so we can say this thing that 12th house is 11 places, 11 house from the 2nd house. So that means whatever expectations you have of the kind of saving assets, money you have, so for that 12th house somehow plays a very important role. Along with that guys, when we talk about the 11th house, see 11th house definitely is the house of income, but this is also the house of the opportunity, popularity and success, and 12th house is second from the 11th house, and that is the only reason you have to understand this thing, that 11th house if you have very prominent, it can keep on creating opportunities in your life. But whether you have that potential and capacity to create that opportunity into a proper money giving channel and not, so 12th house will play a very important role. Along with that guys, I always say this thing that, okay, 9th house is the house of the gods and the abode, the residing place of the god is the 12th house. You can also look at it from this way that when we talk about whether someone is going to be contented with his fate or not, like the way if you ask me, whatever I have done, wherever I am, I'm the most contented with my luck. Luck has always supported me. Divinity has always looked after me, protected me. In my case, being a Aries Lagna, my both 9th and the 12th house is being ruled by the same planet, which is in a good dignity. In my chart, Jupiter. That could be a reason. But what I'm trying to say over here is that because 12th house is 4 places ahead of the 9th house as well. So how luck has treated you? Are you contented at peace with your luck or not? That we also get to know from the 12th house. So because of which, guys, 12th house becomes very important. And along with that, guys, even if you will look at it from the 6th house, you will look at it from the 5th house, somehow in all the alignments you will see the prominence coming in from the 12th house. So now comes the question that, okay, what we can do in order to extract the good results from the 12th house. You would have so far studied about this only, that okay, 12th house is only there to give us expenses, to give us losses. But here I am suddenly coming and telling you that from the 12th house you can be rich and can be wealthy as well. So how can you do that? This is what we will try to understand in this small video. So guys, I have again written 7 tips or points for you which can help you to extract wealth from the 12th house. So now we will start our discussion. The very first tip is keep the money in circulation. So guys, this is what the thing which you will see in majority of the big businesses or people who have generated or created big wealth, that they did not get contented out of the money which they got or after the success of one venture. They kept on moving or investing from one venture to another venture, because eventually, otherwise, this is also the house of expenses. We cannot overlook that fact. But this house only grows if you know how to invest and how to keep the money in circulation. So because of which, the very first point or the tip which I have for you, if you are or your whole life surround around the matters of the 12th house, like your ascendant lord is in the 12th house, you have your 10th lord placed in the 12th house, you have 2 or 3 planets being conjunct in the 12th house, or you are in the long dasha of a planet which is placed in the 12th house, so definitely keeping the money in circulation becomes very important. The tip number 2 for you is that charities and charities becomes very important, guys. I always say this thing that in one way or another way, giving away money in order to help unprivileged people or all those people who cannot help themselves, take care of themselves. So doing money or doing any charity or donations, if you have a very active, prominent 12th house, will become very important. You will not even realize the person whom you have helped in that person's difficult times, in which form or phase the same favor will reciprocate or come back, and life will help you in the most testing times of yours. So in order to get the best out of the 12th house, charities becomes very important. The tip number 3 which I have for you is contribution in building religious institution. Now guys, this is one such thing, like the way I mentioned this thing, that from the 9th house, if 9th house is the house of the luck or divinity, for 12th house you have to go 4 places ahead of it. And trust me, you are not only building the house of the god basis your religion, but you are like strengthening and fortifying your luck prospects. Now guys, that is the only reason, like you'll not believe, like I came across so many people, and especially living in Canada, I came across many Sikh people, like Punjabi and the Sikh people, and I was like so like impressed when they said this thing that, okay, when I moved here, you know, in this province, in this place, the first Gurdwara was built by my own family, and my family ensured this thing that when we first time came here as a migrant, that we will not build our own house first, but first we will ensure to build a Gurudwara first, then we will build our own house. So I mean to say, this is the right way of utilizing the energy or extracting the best out of the 12th house. Like, I'm not saying you to go bankrupt in order to build a whole church or temple or Gurudwara or something, but even if you get to know that, okay, someone else is doing that, or asking for donation or charity, especially in order to build a place of the religious importance, you should do the contribution. Especially if you are strongly ruled by the 12th house. Again guys, if I were to say in my case, my majority of the, like all of my planets are somehow the ruler of all of that. Like almost my 5 planets are in the Saturn signs. Saturn is in the 8th house. My ascendant lord is in the 8th house. So it's like you can say this thing that, okay, this person is completely governed and ruled by the 8th house. So if this is what the same alignment you also have in your chart, so that sort of attitude and approach will always help you, support you. Now guys, the tip number 4 which I have written for you people is that loyalty towards your subordinates will become very important. Now, obviously, if you are a business owner, so people who work for you, or even if you are a CEO, you are in a top management role or something, so loyalty towards your juniors and your subordinates, how you treat them will become very important. Like the way, guys, we say this thing that if we are the first house, opposite to is the house of our partner, our spouse, and the only thing which defines a marriage is when there is a legal binding, there is a responsibility, and there is a degree and sense of conviction, commitment, and loyalty attached over there. So the opposite to the 12th house is the 6th house, and 6th house is actually the house of your juniors and your subordinates, people who work for you, who report to you. So like the way not many people have this approach and this attitude that okay, just because that person did something, you were looking for a reason to not pay that person, underpay someone. So this sort of attitude and approach will not help you to build something or get the financial benefits out of the 12th house. Now guys, after that, the next point which I have written for you people is that always travel for the new ideas. Like 12th house is actually the house which is hidden from us, and that is what defines, and that is where the thin line of difference between the secrecy of the 8th house and the 12th house comes. 8th house is definitely the house of magic, miracle, but which can be mastered through different techniques and all. But 12th house is something which is always hidden. Whenever it will open, it can only happen or manifest, or the help or the voice can only come from the other side when we will be least expecting it. So the point which I'm saying over here is that always traveling for the new ideas always help. Like you can call it as a therapy, you can call it as a relaxation, you can call it as a remedy for the 12th house, but it's not like that. You see, I'll tell you my own story because my mother was based in the southern part of the India. So growing up in our holidays and all, whenever we used to have holidays in our school, every single time, every yearly vacation, our parents used to take us to the same place. Like imagine the Delhi summer is already so like scorching, so excruciating, and my parents used to take me from 35 degrees to the 45 degrees in the peak of the summer. So the point which I'm saying over here is that for the 12th house utilization, traveling to the new places becomes very important. It's like every time you're taking a vacation to Mexico, or you're taking a vacation to this place, I mean to say all the time keep on exploring new places. The tip number 6 for you is that convince your friends to invest in your ideas. Like the way, guys, I said this thing that 11th house is the house of your friends, income, opportunities. 12th house is second from it. And this is where the beauty of the 8th house and the 12th house is that in majority of the cases, they flourish when other people put money on their ideas. Other people invest on them. So it is always recommended that you should always be convincing. I already gave you this logic that from the 11th house, it is second from over there. From the second house, it is 11th from over there. So I mean to say, it is always a good idea to convince your friends to invest in your ideas and all. Now, that does not mean you become a multi-level marketing guy and every time you're tricking them, let's go out for that, beach or that movie. And suddenly, oh, there is a meeting, someone wants to meet you. Do not exploit them like this in a proper, very graceful and dignified way, but convince them. That is the 6th tip which I wanted to give. And the last tip, the tip number 7 is stay secretive regarding your business plans. So those whom you find or feel that they are worthy enough to contribute or invest, that is fine. But otherwise, do not, make a spectacle of your plans before they have fructified, before they have actually started growing or flourishing, because eventually, ultimately, whatever happens or whatever actually work from the 8th house or the 12th house, unless and until it has been kept under wraps, it is secretive, and suddenly it is gonna come out in the market and surprise everyone, then only they give good results. So yes guys, these were the few tips and the points which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. For further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on my Instagram account. Dhanyawad.